All right, so we're going to get the meeting going. Dean. Sorry, my gavel's missing. All right, so
You were loud enough, you didn't really need it.
Frank, first up's the Pledge of Allegiance.
So, all good things come to whatever that saying is, people who wait. And after a month of trying to get Emma Matson to do the pledge, and we had some snowstorms and deliberative sessions, she is finally here. So, Emma is an 8th grade student. She's a natural leader. She's the student council president. Over the last week in December, the week before, I called Emma down and I said, we got to pull something together. What can we do? You know, some festive things within the school. And Emma single-handedly, I think with the help of her mom, coming up with some nice songs and created some great activities for that. But it goes beyond with that. But she takes that initiative as a leader. She's truly organized, and she's really stepped into that role since as a 6th grader. She's one of those students who stands out with her leadership. She's been a part of the field hockey, basketball, and lacrosse teams, and was one of the captains for lacrosse in 7th grade?
6th grade.
In 6th grade. And again, you don't see that very often where a 6th grader demonstrates the leadership styles, whether by her actions or by her words. She's been a student council homeroom rep. In 7th grade, she played field hockey, basketball, and lacrosse, and once again was a field hockey captain. She was inducted into the National Junior Honor Society. She spends a lot of time in the community volunteering. So again, this is one of those students that we say make the most of your middle school experience. And she's done that academically in the community, and being involved here not only with athletics, but also with activities like National Junior Honor Society and Student Council. She was field hockey captain in 8th grade this year, basketball team, and they had a very successful season. Went to the semifinals.
Yep.
Went to semifinals. She's student council president. She's can't wait. She doesn't know if it's going to be as good as yours, Mr. Denbo, but she can't wait for the 8th grade recognition evening because she will be delivering the speech to the 8th grade class in the community. Mr. Denbo's done poems in the past. She's also the colleague vice president of the band. She's going to Pinkerton Academy. She hopes to play lacrosse and stay involved, which I believe her, in joining clubs such as Student Council and certainly earning the recognition of National Honor Society. She volunteers for kindergarten basketball, intro to class, hooks at flag football. She wants to be a teacher or maybe go into business. At a young age, like my son, she wanted to be a zoologist. So, fun little facts, and her family is here tonight. So, if everyone would stand, and Emma will lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you.
So approved posting. Okay. From what I understand in the room too, someone had a birthday today.
Thanks.
Hey? It's Phil's birthday.
Happy birthday.
All right.
Thanks, Phil.
You're welcome. I'm not going to ask which one. It's not polite.
I've seen a few, let's leave it at that.
Mr. Denbo, you want me to have the light shut off? We can bring the cake?
Okay. So I'm looking for a motion on the minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes from February 7th.
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nobody. All right. So next we have opportunity for the public, and I think we have some public tonight, which we don't normally have. Just real quick, so you go up and you have your say. Don't expect us to go back and forth and answer you, et cetera. It's really just an opportunity if you go up and speak to whatever item you want to speak to. And there's supposedly like a 3-minute maximum, but, take as long as you need, really. It doesn't really matter to us, I don't think. Obviously, we're happy to have public input, because we hardly ever get any. So if anybody would like to get up and speak, please go for it.
Name and address.
Yeah. Nobody. All right. Oh, really? Okay.
Right up here.
Yeah,
Sure.
have a seat. There's a green light, and that'll pick up your voice
Yeah.
for the audio. Just state your name and your address.
Yeah.
All right, I'm Michael Gott. I live at 486 West River Road. I'm speaking on behalf of the pilot kindergarten program. It's my understanding that there's a chance for,
Push it again. I pushed it and then I pushed it.
That's all right.
Not to push, but a little pushy. There's a pilot program, based on the preliminary meeting at the elementary school. It seemed like there was much more interest than just a single class. And if it is possible, especially from a space perspective, to get more classes in, I think that the community is interested enough that that would warrant serious consideration, if not follow through, so.
Okay.
All right.
Yep.
That's all I got.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. So later in the agenda, Carol's going to speak to where we're at, so you guys will find out what's going on, et cetera. Anybody else?
If we'd like to second that, can we just do it from the back?
Yeah. All those in favor, go ahead, raise your hand. All right. No, that's why we're here, and that's why we're getting it going, so, no, I appreciate it, thanks. Okay, so superintendent updates, Bill?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know if someone else wanted to speak.
Was there one other person want to speak? Sure.
Chris LaCroix, 34 Grant Drive, Hooksett, New Hampshire. I'm here tonight to speak in favor of adding classes for the kindergarten program. I would assume a bunch of people behind us are too, but I'm here to support that program in any way possible and hope that we can have more than just one pilot program this year. I think there's a need for it, and daycares in town are stopping their kindergarten program, so I think you're going to find an influx. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? We'll give it a 5-second rule. 1, 2. There's another one at the end. If you guys want to stick around, you can chime in again. Okay, we good? Okay. Go.
Yeah, again, since it's been a while since we met, on January 23rd, I attended the Pinkerton Winter Dinner along with Mike, Kara, and Lindsay. Before the dinner, Pinkerton students participating in the architecture and construction program presented their design plans to remodel the rooms in the house that Pinkerton recently purchased for its CTE program. Students had their plans posted all around the dining area, and we were able to ask the students questions about their different plans. Dr. Powers also provided an update on the strategic plan, Pinkerton's strategic plan, their campaign update, the fall athletic update, winter mid-season report, and also discuss requested items that were sent from sending town school boards. On the 29th, I held my first meet and greet with the Memorial teachers. Again, for those not familiar, the purpose of the meet and greets is that I meet with the teachers after school, and we just have conversations about issues that they have questions about. It also allows me a chance to get to know the teachers and they to get to know me. Memorial was the last of the 3 schools for me to go through the first round, and I'll be doing a second round in April and May with our staff. And it's just the teachers and myself, and again, as with all the meetings, they're very productive, at least from my end, because I get a lot of good feedback from, what's on our teachers' minds about different issues. On the 31st, I had an SAU 15 principals meeting. It was held in Auburn. We received a tour of the new addition from Dr. Collins, and at the meeting we talked about, in all 3 districts, teacher evaluation schedules. At the time, a reminder about the deliberative sessions in all 3 districts. We started talking about our PD schedule for next year. We also talked about K transportation, which will be an issue on our agenda later this evening, and we talked about the state assessment schedule. February 4th, I met with Ben, and on February 7th, I met with Mr. Benson, and then on the 12th with Mr. Harris, and we did a mid-season review of their annual objectives, which they submitted at the start of the school year. On February 12th, I did a 5th grade walkthrough with Steve at Memorial, and the same day I went to a 2nd grade walkthrough at Underhill. On the 14th, I had a South Central meeting with the superintendents, and yesterday we had a meeting with all the SAU principals, maintenance directors and tech directors to discuss our response to the coronavirus issue that we're facing our country, and we developed strategies and started implementing strategies to preventive strategies to help contain the spread of the virus. We'll also be meeting this Friday as a follow-up update as to where we are with that progress. Dean, do you want to just give a brief update to the board as to where we are? Yeah, please.
Stole my thunder.
So like Bill said, we met yesterday morning. Shortly after that meeting, after discussing preventative measures, I met with the 3 lead custodians for all 3 buildings in Hooksett. We formed a plan to implement all those measures. Any of the supplies that we had in stock went to the classrooms so that teachers have access to all the hand sanitizers, soap, anything that they need to follow through with that. Today I met with our supply rep. We are ordering whatever supplies they still have on the shelves. He is in constant contact with me in order to let me know what they do have, what they don't have, when we're going to get stuff. So it's kind of a work in progress, but we are certainly working on all the...
And some of the preventive measures are, I've asked Dean and his team to make sure all the desks are disinfected every day, at the end of every school day. At lunch, to disinfect the lunch tables after every lunch, to disinfect common areas throughout the building throughout the course of the day. Also, we are trying to get hand sanitizers in every classroom. We're making sure all the soap dispensers are filled and that classrooms, they have tissue boxes for students who may have colds or things, for that nature. So we responded as quickly as we could. And it's an ongoing, obviously important issue for us.
Yeah, Dean, I was going to ask you about the desk, because I know, obviously, the kids and the teachers, right? So,
Yes, yes.
think about that, so.
Every hard surface, hard non-porous surface is being wiped down every single night.
Okay.
So,
Excellent. Sounds good. Thanks.
That's it.
Jim, you got anything? Okay. All right, so moving on to the administrator's reports. I got a couple, if that's okay. So, Marge, how did the suicide prevention training go?
I think, so just for some background, you know that beginning July of this year, 2020, each faculty member and employee will be required to do 2 hours of training annually. So we are doing this a little bit ahead of schedule. We used NAMI New Hampshire, and they were in here on our voting day, and they did a 3-hour training to jumpstart our training. So the majority of staff have been trained. We're looking this summer, and at some other point, this summer we'll be training custodians, and at some point when it works into their schedules, our kitchen staff as well.
As well as central office, myself, Amy, Marge is running it, so she doesn't really need to attend, but everybody will be attending the 2-hour training sessions.
So, yes, it went well.
Cool.
And it's, it's an important need in the state.
Okay, excellent.
Just a question on the 2 hours that will be required annually. Is that just on suicide prevention or just total mental health?
Well, specifically annually for suicide, and then we will do additional training
Social emotional.
for, anxiety or other related.
Because it's all obviously interwoven, but we wanted to carve out, and we want to carve out the 2 hours so that we can demonstrate if the state ever asked us, show us how you've done it. We don't want to say, well, we did it as part of a big social emotional package. We wanted to carve it out separately. And Marge and I talked, and we talked with the principals, and we felt it was something we needed to do now. We didn't need July 1st, to do it for next year, we felt we needed to do it right away.
Jim? Jim was looking at it, okay. So, and then, Ben, on the full-day kindergarten pilot announcement, how'd that go? Well-attended, et cetera? What do you got?
Oh, very well attended.
It was very well attended. In fact, we had so many people there that we had to pull chairs out of the closet. There were some great questions from the audience about the potential for the pilot. And obviously, we have some folks here tonight, who are very interested in the pilot and increasing the pilot. But overall, I think it was a great night. Shared some basic information about, the kindergarten program, but also first grade as well, because we had some incoming first grade parents there as well. But overall, they were really great questions. I did the best I could to field those questions, and I think some of the things that will be discussed tonight will hopefully shed some light on some of those questions, and hopefully over the next few months, as we get closer, we'll be able to answer some more questions.
Ben, I know we're going to be talking about it in a few minutes, but can you tell the board how many how many parents have registered for all-day K as of today?
As of about 4:30 this afternoon, we had 98 requests for full-day kindergarten and 2 for half-day.
Pretty much speaks for itself. Okay. Anybody else have any other questions?
Two. I had one question for Mr. Benson on the Title I update. Is it AM and PM, morning and afternoon? Yes. I thought so, okay, I just wanted to check. So it sounds like it's going really good. It's awesome. And I had one comment for Dean. I just wanted to thank you. At the bottom, in the last couple of your reports, you mentioned training the staff on the age group of the population they're working with. That's not something I've seen before from the maintenance reports, and I think that's a really important piece since they have contact with the kids. So thank you for incorporating that. That's great.
Anything else on reports, guys? Jim?
Just 2 questions. I'm glad you asked about the workshop on suicide prevention. That was a question I had. 2 questions. One for our Mrs. Lagi. I see you're rolling out a new model of instruction. You kind of give a short description of how that new model will compare to how we approach it as of like last year.
So it's not a new model for instruction, it was a new model where teachers got to plan together.
Planning, okay.
So it was 2 teachers together with myself, and we planned a lesson together for an hour and a half. Then they went and taught that lesson while the other teacher, myself, observed, and then we debriefed at the end of the day to talk about what went well and what would we do better next time, and then they had a half an hour to plan for the next day based on what they observed in the lesson.
Okay, so how is that seen as an improvement over the co-teaching? I mean, I know more teachers help provide a little bit
So
more.
this gives them the time to plan together and really talk through the lesson, and talk about what's the outcome that we want from this lesson, what strategies are we going to use, and they get to bounce ideas off each other. Where if you're just co-teaching, you don't have that time to sit down before the lesson to really outline what you want it to look like.
Because they're all meeting the same criteria for curriculum instruction, so the planning will help improve that, and as you say, you have a good idea. Oh, I didn't realize. Oh, that's a good idea. So
Right, and just
I think that's
having that time to really work together. And it was with 4 teachers, so we did 2 different groups that day.
Oh, that sounds like a good idea. Thank you. One from Mr. Benson, if I could. I know it's going to be one of our goals that we're going to discuss about community service, and that's something I'm always involved in. I'm glad they're doing that, and perhaps I was thinking maybe for more outreach for maybe in the social end, getting maybe suggest to the social studies teacher, the history teachers, maybe, because we have a component of civics in those lessons, maybe encourage them to attend a school board meeting, a council meeting, and maybe attend some historical society meetings and things like that, because that would give them a good rounding. So that, plus what you're doing now, I think that's great. So I would encourage more attendance from the students. Okay, so thank you. And I think I'm running for something. My hands
I just got 2 questions.
So that's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
One's for Marge on the assessments. Do you have an idea as to when the results will be in?
So for the winter assessments, we have those results, both for NEWA and for Dibbles. It's the state assessment is the one that we do in the spring, and we get the results validated, but not until the fall. So we have winter assessment results. Teachers have looked at them already and adjusted some of their instruction based upon the results.
Okay. And then one for the superintendent, real quick, on the meeting with the principals as far as the progress on the objectives. How are we looking on that?
As far as their personal objective,
Yeah.
they're all meeting them. I have no concerns about them meeting their personal objectives.
Can we get a brief overview of the test scores at the next meeting, or in the next
So-
Part of a
couple?
presentation.
But we can, so we're doing the major assessment presentation, which is your spring to spring results in May, and then that will be followed by the principals who will talk about what's been going on in each of the buildings. So that's going to be older information. So yes, I can put something in the next report, but it won't be as detailed.
Right. Thank you.
Mike? Okay, so we get the, a retirement? Next.
Motion to approve the retirement for Jacqueline Gagnon with thanks and appreciation.
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nobody. Now co-curricular nomination?
I'd like to- Go ahead, Mr.
I'll make a motion to approve the co-curricular assignment nomination for Kim Swiderski for assistant track and field.
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so manifest.
I don't know where it is.
Oh, Jim?
No, I handed it back to you, Mr.
Bill?
Superintendent.
Okay.
Oh,
What'd I do with it? See, you gave it to me, Jim. Didn't I?
Yes, I'm sure.
maybe back that way.
Yes, right.
I don't have it.
We have a district attorney manifest.
Mr. Eric and I almost fell out of our seats when we passed it.
Yeah, I know. I think I passed it back. I don't.
Everybody check your phone.
It's like, where's Waldo? Oh, here it is. I was hiding it.
It's only like,
It's okay.
it was about 800 grand.
Not too
That's fine.
embarrassing.
There you
See, you shouldn't have given it to me, Jim.
go. Happy birthday.
Got that right.
Okay, so to start, I would like to make a motion to approve the manifest for February 18th, 2020, in the amount of $555,540.85.
I'll second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nobody. So before we get to kindergarten, which is going to take us a while. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. I'd like to make a motion to approve the manifest for March 3rd, 2020,
That's fine, too.
in the amount of $863,434.23.
Second.
Either one.
All in
Any
favor?
discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Nobody, okay. So, real quick, before we get into kindergarten, Duncan Corcus is here, he's actually our Pinkerton student rep, and he's gonna give us a quick update on what's going on at Pinkerton, so. And he's obviously wearing lacrosse gear?
Yeah,
All right.
sorry.
Yeah, that's,
King.
it's all right. As long as your spikes don't tear up the floor, you're fine.
They're pretty worn down. Okay, so right now we're in semester 2. Still in the third quarter though. We got like 5 weeks to go. But everything's going very well. 2 of our robotics teams, which we'll get into later, I believe in the back, have qualified for the VEX Worlds competition in Louisville, Kentucky, which is an international robotics competition. They both did well at the regional competition on February 15th, and well enough that of the 10 teams from New Hampshire and Vermont, 2 qualify for Worlds, there are 2 Pinkerton teams, and it's the first time in 5 years that 2 Pinkerton teams have qualified for Worlds. Generally, it's just been 1, but. So Stephen Marchese, who is a Pinkerton Academy JROTC cadet, applied for and received a scholarship to attend an accredited aviation university, participating in a private pilot license training in the summer of 2020. There were only 200 cadets across the world that have received the scholarship, and he was educated in Hooksett, and now he's knocking it out of the park at Pinkerton. So as far as winter athletics goes, the boys and girls ski teams both competed in the state championships on February 11th and 12th respectively. The boys finished in 9th place and the girls finished in 5th. I know that the gymnastics team finished an undefeated season with a state championship, which is their 4th in a row. The swim teams had their state meets on February 15th. The boys are in 7th place and the girls came in 3rd, which is, for the girls, it's the highest that they've ever placed. Winter track competed in the state championship on February 9th, and the girls were in 5th place and the boys brought home another state championship. Both varsity and junior varsity cheer won their respective state championships. There are 6 seniors on varsity cheer, and 4 of them are from Hooksett. Haley Blackman, Julia Saab, Ashley Hebert, and Jenna Droschers. And the Pinkerton Academy featured twirlers, they do their, I don't know what it's called, like a skit, I guess. I'm not a twirler. At football games through the fall, there are 3 of them, and 2 of them are from Hooksett. As far as dates coming up, the PSATs and SATs are March 25th. There is a, where is it? Musical on March 20th and 22nd, and March 31st is the Chorale and Bell concert. Prom for the juniors is May 16th, and graduation is June 8th at 4 p.m. So as you can see from the updates overall, as we go off to high school, Hooksett students are keeping the Colley motto close to heart and making their mark and making a difference. And especially considering that as there are now 410 Hooksett students at Pinkerton, we are 40 students away from being the second largest sending town at Pinkerton. Hampstead at us beat by 40, but not for too long.
That's awesome.
Does anyone have any questions?
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Duncan.
No,
That's
thanks,
great.
Duncan. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Duncan.
Duncan is obviously the Hooksett product as well, so that's. So wait, no, you're junior, right? You're a senior, so where are you going next year? Don't know yet? Okay. Where'd you apply?
That's a long story.
All right. So, moving on, Kara, this is you, I believe.
All right,
Coming up
so I'll just give a brief and
That's
then,
fine.
and then Bill's going to take it from there. So just to give you guys a little bit of background, back in 2015, we had a study committee for full-day kindergarten. The board at that time, after reviewing all the data, fully supports full-day kindergarten. We have for a number of years. It's just been a matter of getting it established at the school, finding space, budget issues, and all of that. So you may remember over the last couple of years, we've had warrant articles towards that. We missed the first year to do a big renovation at Underhill by like 7 votes. And then the second year we had issues with wording and all that, and it failed at the ballot a second time. So new administration, we decided let's clean slate, let's start over, take another look. We still very much support it. So back in the fall, we made the commitment to the pilot. And then in December, we toured Underhill and just kind of started from scratch and said, how can we move things around, shift things, look at this from a different lens, think outside the box, and try to figure out how we can make it work. The superintendent, assistant superintendent, building principal got together. They made a bunch of changes at the school to allow for classroom space to be able to accommodate it. So that's kind of where we are right now. We have the space for the pilot. I'll let Mr. Rarick take it from there, but we hear what you're saying. We very much support it, 100%.
Yeah, just to add to what Kara has mentioned, one of the for earliest discussions that I had with the board was how do we approach the issue of all-day K? Understanding that there were 2 bond referendums that did not pass. The board, back in the fall when we were doing our budget, determined that we didn't want to go back to the voters again and ask for a bond referendum of millions of dollars. The last one, I believe, was 4.8 million, somewhere around there. So with that in mind, we built our budget based on having just the current model. Again, in the fall, the board, we discussed the issue of would it be possible to offer a hybrid kindergarten program where we have at least 1 full-day K session. The board did agree and directed us to make sure that that happened. The board also formed a kindergarten subcommittee made up of Kara, Lindsay, Mike Summers, Marge, myself, and Ben. And we did look at building use. One of the first things we did was, and this was a priority for the board, was to bring our kids in from the modular classrooms. They didn't want our students going out into those classrooms. So Marge and I met with Ben, and we talked about different models that we could run. Ben was able to, over Christmas vacation, bring the students in so they didn't have to go out for the classes that they are going to. And then we also looked at our room availability space, and we've concluded, and this was also part of the last bond referendum, that having the all-day K classes can be held. There's enough space in Underhill to run 7 full-day sessions without any additions or anything like that. The issue that, and we still have to work with this where we are now, is, okay, we have the space, but what can we afford? We don't have it in our budget for next year. We didn't advocate for it because we really didn't, this is kind of sped up on us as far as timelines go. So right now, we're just looking at, okay, we have the space, what can, are we going to be able to add additional sessions? And we just can't answer that question right now. So that's kind of where we are with that. Because in order to let me just finish or be clear, in order to have all-day K, we would need 7 teachers, kindergarten teachers. We currently have 3. We would have to hire 4 full-time teachers and 4 paras. Ballpark, that's $500,000-ish. We haven't even priced out that, but that's just, I think, a fair amount. It's a lot of money. And even if we had planned for it, that would have been a big ask for the people in town to consider. But that's not saying it's not worth it, because I believe all-day K is worth it. But it's a matter of ability to pay for it as well. The need is definitely there.
I just wanted to add to that, when we first put it on the ballot a couple years ago, it wasn't just the space, that wasn't just what the addition was for. As you might know, the school itself is very old, and it is out of ADA compliance in a number of areas. So that was a huge concern for us, was updating it, obviously fixing the roof, which is a separate warrant, but taking care of a lot of the maintenance issues. And that was all kind of tied in, so that's why the space might physically be there, but we needed to try to take care of some of those other issues. So we're trying to kind of pull them apart separately now and work on, we have a lot of the maintenance issues built into the budget for next year, and some things that we're working on as we can. So just wanted you to understand where that was.
Another way to look at it is our priority is to get the all-day K classrooms up and running as soon as we can. The other needs, for example, the driveway around the building still needed. We need additional parking. The playground needs to be upgraded. All those things are still needed, but we felt, and that's what the subcommittee is also examining, we're just not looking at the all-day K question, but we're also looking at other upgrades that we're going to need 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the line for the school. So that's kind of where we are.
So any of you that were at the deliberative session know we had a battle to put $600 and something thousand back in the budget that was cut, right? So this is an additional $500,000 on top of that. So again, we're trying to do what we can with the money that we have. And we've also talked about if there's, excess money at the end of the year, we may end up using some of that, something. We're trying our best to get full day K for as many classrooms as we can. But right now, it's really, like Bill said, it's all about money, right? Because we get going in the process, you do the budget really, really early. And we already got a hard time for asking for the money we asked for. And again, a lot of those things are ADA items, bathroom items so that folks in wheelchairs could get in the bathrooms. We are out of compliance. I don't know why we haven't got dinged on it by some type of state official up to this point. So, go ahead, Jim.
And I certainly, as Kara indicated, that we've been looking at kindergarten, full-day kindergarten. I remember back in the 90s when we first, and I wasn't on the school board then, when they first introduced kindergarten half sessions, that was a big issue regarding impact and so forth. But I think we're moving in the right direction. Mr. Eric, you did indicate that it's a combination of things in the proposal from that 4.3 million that still need to be done, or not to the extent
That's correct.
the ADA and compliance and security measures, which I think certainly take
Taking
precedent.
care of the ADA,
Yes, so that is being done, okay. And then, of course, besides the outside improvements will still need to be done regardless of the circumstances with kindergarten.
That's correct.
So I know we've committed to 1 year, and you did, Kate, there is a possibility of going up to 7, but jumping from 0 to 7 in 1 day, in 1 year, certainly would have an impact on budget and resources.
certainly would.
So, as of now, we've committed to 1.
That's correct.
And I don't want to commit to even more, any more at this point, but with minimal impact over the next year or two to get to that 7, there's a possibility that we still could consider a second and third option, but that's not going to be considered tonight. That's something we're going to look forward to and have this conversation. So we could add a 2 or 3 with some budget impact, but not as much as going to the 7 full days with the additional 4 teachers and the, correct, so.
Later this year, later in the school year, we'll have a better picture of where we are financially, and we can give a more educated and updated response.
So one is not the final
No,
word
well-
as of now. It could be 1 or 2, but that's something that
I don't-
we don't want to commit right now because we
Right.
need more research.
Our goal is to try to expand, but I don't want to overpromise or
Okay.
to the public. Our goal is if we can, we'd like to.
All right, so that was my main point. There is a possibility, but at this point, we don't want to overextend or overcommit beyond the 1 that we've committed to through the pilot.
Better to under-promise and over-deliver,
Yes.
Jim.
And the other question is on the pilot, so let's say the pilot is successful and we're able to add 1 or 2 more throughout the next year or this year and so forth. Just clarification, I know we're really not new to the administrating the kindergarten program. There's certainly going to be a little change from a half-day program to a full-day program. But that part of the pilot will work out some of those details even with 1 or 2 classes. So that's the main goal for the pilot as well, to work on.
That's correct.
Okay.
So basically what they're saying is the curriculum's got to change. You can't just have half a day of babysitting on top of standard kindergarten, right? You guys get that, right? The day's got to be different, include a little bit more for the kids, et cetera.
So this is another purpose for the pilot to
And one of the-
providing the right type of kindergarten program.
Right, and one of the things that I want to do is, regardless of whether we have 1 session or 3 sessions or whatever it is, that we have a meeting with the board where we just talk about what it will look like for next year for that pilot class or classes, what parents can expect, what their children can expect, and how it will change. Also, we'll obviously be conversing with our teachers. Many of them have already taught 1st or 2nd grade, so they know what it's like to teach all day, having the same kids, but the curriculum would expand. And we would also, at that evening, explain, what would go on. It wouldn't be babysitting. They'd be obviously doing academic activities as well.
And just, I'm sorry, just 2 more quick questions, Mr. Markakis, if I could. So of course, based on what Mr. Lloyd, not Lavoy, Lloyd said, that there clearly is a strong desire of the applicants, 98. So clearly even, and it's a 20 to 1 ratio, so clearly there's only gonna be 20 spots at one, and if we go to 2 or 3, that's still gonna be, that's 60, so there's still gonna be a need, and we're gonna be discussing the process and how those 4
Yep.
days. Later on?
Yes.
Or, under policies, or we're gonna do that right
We
now?
would be discussing it under policy.
Okay, thank you, that's all I have, appreciate it.
I think one of the biggest concerns that I've heard so far is the timing of the lottery, so people can plan. And that's kind of something I think that what I've been hearing is the biggest concern, because a lot of the daycares in the area are trying to plan their numbers, and they're either shutting people down, or, and I've heard this from a lot of people, so I think the biggest thing we need to do is establish the timeline on the lottery. If we know we're going to do the one class and we have 20, I think that's the most concerning thing that I've heard so far, is to get that done and get that done as soon as possible on the timing of that, because I know people are trying to plan, and daycares are turning people away until they know what's happening.
We can discuss that when we do the policy, because that's part of the lottery and the date and stuff. Because you can have, you can do the one, and then have
Right.
have a second.
It's easier to add the second,
Right.
and people can pull out, but
That's
as of right
correct.
now, they're trying to plan.
No, I understand, that makes
So
sense.
it's,
Yeah.
I think it's similar to what we were talking about with the under promise over deliver.
Right.
Should plan on the worst case scenario, right, and if we end up with better, then you have better.
exactly, we know we have one, let's just get that booked, and people can plan ahead of time.
Okay. Do you want to talk about that during the busing?
I would do it during the,
Okay.
not busing, that's a separate,
Yep,
not tied, it's indirectly tied.
okay. Cool. So you want to move to goals, do that part? Get that out of the way? Okay. So any updates?
Marge, do we have any, I think we only have 2. The community service component, we're still working, we completed that, didn't we?
We did. It appears we had whether or not to do the deliberative session Friday or Saturday, so we had our deliberative sessions. That became green. Matt has been talking about his community service, and I believe that is all. I don't know, we have something that's coming up later in the agenda on the far right about board meetings. And that's it.
Okay. Any questions? No? Okay. So,
Mr. Chair, just when, I know we didn't have that Friday delivery session, I know of course, we're still now a year off before we need to decide that, but I would hope in the fall, when we establish the calendar, we make a decision on whether we want to continue with the traditional Friday or move it to a possibility of a daytime that may be more conducive to the voters, but we definitely hope we can put that on the agenda in September in time for the March meeting of 2021.
okay. Sounds a good idea. All right, so, new business. Kindergarten busing.
Yes.
We have something from Gordon on that.
Yes, I supplied to the, this came about indirectly. Actually, Mary Ann brought it to my attention first, then it came up in Auburn. The question that was posed to me, that came to me, was that a law had been passed this past summer that said if a school district has half-day K, the districts have to pay for busing or provide busing for students to the half-day K in the morning, and then you've got to take them home. You've got to create a midday run, essentially. So I heard it, so I asked Gordon. You see his response to me. Effective July 1st of this year, districts that have half-day programs have to provide that midday busing. Again, we're still working with the bus company, trying to, and it's hard for them, because we're still in flux as to how many kids we would be looking at. Are we looking at just one session of full-day K, which would take 20 students out of the, so it's a moving target. But for just example, if we had just, say, 2 buses, we split the town in half, and again, it also depends where the little ones are, and not every 5-year-old's going to be on a bus, but the state says you have to provide the busing. So minimum of 2 buses, a single bus to add 1 route is $36,000 a year. I'm sorry, $18,000 a year. So for 2 buses, it'd be $36,000. And I believe it was passed in order to force districts to say, okay, we should have all-day K, if not for the value in having it, you know, it's also going to cost you money to transport the kids.
Well, I can't see it, like, most people don't want to put their 5-year-old on a
No,
bus. So you can be a
no,
bus
but you
runner out
have
with
to.
2 kids in it.
Right, but you have to.
For 36 grand, right?
Right, yeah. So, I mean, that's still in, so that's another cost that we didn't budget for. So that's something we have to make up in next year's budget somehow to provide, if we don't do anything at all, we have to provide that. We're going to have to provide that, short of going to full-day K for everything, we're going to have to run those midday runs.
Thank you, Bill, Mr. Superintendent. I'm looking at XA that you provided. You said it must. Now, I'm looking at Chapter 181, where we have bolded, added kindergarten, and then crossed out. But then it says in that second part after the lines, it says, the local district may furnish. But according to what you said, they have to, may furnish transportation in kindergartens, and then
Who live 2 miles or less.
in,
So in other words, if they live 2 miles or less, a district can say, parents, you have to transport your children.
Right.
okay, because I'm reading, the local district may furnish
Right.
transportation,
If
doesn't
they
say
live
we
on-
have to.
Under the 2-mile rule.
Under 2 miles.
Who live,
Outside that, you have to.
If they live, for example, if they live 3 miles away, you have to transport them.
who live 2 miles or less, okay.
You don't have to.
Oh, okay.
The school board reserves the right to say.
I see that, okay, I'm sorry, I was seeing.
In my, having done this in Rhode Island where I came from,
Okay.
we had similar rules, but we just said, no, we'll offer it for everyone.
Jim, the first line says shall.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, okay, I was reading that when I was
It hooks us
seeing the
like
may.
46 square miles, right?
Yeah,
All
it's a
right,
lot
thank you
of
for that
miles.
clarification. I was reading the may and the new bold part, but it's less than 2 miles. Over 2 miles, we're required.
Yes.
Okay, there you go, thank you for that clarification.
Sure, if the district's kindergarten programs have to, they need the transportation of the program is full day. Kids have to have day, oh my God, in a district. So, but Bill, if you look at the second half, so because it says about providing full day, it doesn't say for every student. So it says that if you provide full day, which we would be doing 1 classroom worth, we would only, the kids that did the half day, the parents could come pick them up.
Oh, they can still pick them up, but you still have to.
But I mean.
You still have to, parents can always pick their children up.
So I'll read it. If the program is full day, they get transportation, but parents have the option to pick the kids up after half a day, and the district is not required to provide transportation to those students who parents decide will attend only half day.
Right.
So the half-day kids, we don't have to provide busing if we have full day.
If they're in a full-day program,
saying.
I'm reading it if they're in a full-day class and the parents wanted to pull them out
Okay.
at half.
Gordon didn't say that. Okay.
I mean, I can get a
Yeah.
It was pretty clear
Yeah.
when we talked.
Okay.
I said, so we're on the hook for this, and
Okay. You know what I mean? You guys reading the same way? I'm reading that last half, that,
Yeah, except for that in Chapter 189.
Up the top.
6,
Yeah.
it doesn't, it just states kindergarten.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's everybody.
yeah, Gordon is legal speak.
right.
Yeah.
All right.
But, you know, so that, it's an additional cost. Wanted, essentially, it was timely because we were supposed to talk about this a month ago, but, you know, we will have to come up with dollars, ways to pay
Do
for
you need
it.
action on this tonight?
No, this is just informational that we're going to be,
We have to have it.
we have to have it,
know
and it's just the cost. And we'll build it obviously into the 21-22 budget. But we just, and no one, and it wasn't clearly conveyed to us as superintendents because I never saw it. And we get those updates like you do, and we never saw that, Bill, so.
So, I mean, other districts are dealing with the same thing.
Yes, if you, what are there, 10 districts?
I
Marge?
think there's a few more than 10. Most of the districts already have full-day K,
Right.
but there's, 10 to 15, 20 tops in the state. Everybody else has full-day.
The news went over the same in Auburn when I told them. You guys actually took it better. Didn't like it anymore, but.
Looks like we're turning off the AC at the SAU building this
That's
summer.
it.
If I have one more question, because we did discuss this at the policy meeting. So my understanding is, so it's a student who happens to be in the first session. That student, we're providing could have the kindergarten student get onto the regular bus that goes to first grade. And then they could take the same bus at the end of the day, because we would be taking the first graders, second graders. So it's the middle.
It's your middle.
It's the middle day, so you could. and
If
it's
your
used-
child, in other words, if your child's in all-day K, if a family member, the family has a child in all-day K, they would come in the morning, go all day.
Regular
the
bus-
first
the regular
graders, the
buses.
regular buses,
Okay.
and then they would go home at the end of the day with the rest of the kids.
So it's the middle one, so
middle.
we could have one bus that picks people up and then
Right, we'll have
drops
to-
them off, so it would be people jumping on and getting off, and then it
Yep.
would be, okay.
And having done it and experienced it for a number of years before we went to all-day K in my previous district, it's a pain for Ben and his staff to do that, to up and on. And it is now. I mean, it's not easy. And then when you got buses, it's just going to add to the situation.
All right, thank you.
Okay, anybody else? So next is Pinkerton and Vex Robotics, and Kara wants to speak to that. And we have a bunch of kids in the back.
Yes, we do.
If we can have the team come up, and I think Kathy Bobe might be here as well with them. We have the Vex Robotics team that Duncan spoke about earlier from Pinkerton, who made it to the Worlds
See, they have something. for us to
competition in
look at.
Kentucky. So I know it's a long night, guys, and you probably have homework, so you can, if you want to just give us a brief explanation of why you're here and what you have to look forward to, we'd love to hear it.
Is it safe to just stand up?
Absolutely.
Yes, the
Whatever works, you
microphone,
can put that.
microphone will pick you up.
Yep.
All righty.
That's pretty cool.
It is cool. I could never do that.
Me neither.
So, good evening Superintendent Rurick and ladies and gentlemen of the Hooksett School Board. We thank you for this opportunity to address the board tonight. I have with me this evening Pinkerton Academy Robotics Team 241E. Here with me tonight is Team 241E's captain and builder, Duncan Corcus, co-captain, builder, and driver, Austin Bobe, programmer and documenter, Royce Andrews, Wendy Parcel, builder and documenter, and Will Shields and Cam Levesque, both builders, all from Hooksett. Also on the team is Nick Plaza from Auburn. He's with SAU 15 as well, and Diego Rubio from Chester. This team has earned a place to compete in the VEX World Competition in Louisville, Kentucky next month. What is unique about this team from Pinkerton is that 90% of them have all attended the Hooksett schools, mostly from kindergarten through 8th grade, and they range from the class of 2020 through the class of 2023. All of these students came together not because they know each other from living in Hooksett, but because of a common interest in engineering and robotics. So this is a tremendous honor for these students. This team has worked hard, tirelessly building, programming, testing, and rebuilding a robot to be competitive during the school year. They have perfected their skills for this year's VEX Challenge at various competitions around the state. They are one of 2 teams at Pinkerton Academy who will be going to Kentucky, and one of 7 teams from New Hampshire. The students from Hooksett have earned a spot within the 720 teams competing in April out of roughly the 20,000 teams worldwide. I would also like to mention that there's another student from Hooksett, Chris Chow, a Trinity student who also went through Hooksett schools and who has qualified for Worlds as well. Chris has worked collaboratively with Team 241E this season. Both teams are strong competitors and also serve as a wonderful testament to the fact that even though Hooksett does not have its own high school, our students still come together as a community. Team 241E would love your support. Many folks in the community feel our high schoolers are no longer part of the Hooksett community because they attend high school in different towns. With the increased workload of honors classes, high school sports, and clubs, many of these students have returned to Collie as mentors and to assist the Collie Hawkbots robotics team, and often helping them qualify for their state competitions. These students take pride in having attended Hooksett schools and are now coming together in high school to compete at the highest level for robotics. This team will not only be representing Pinkerton Academy at the World Competition, but they are also representing Hooksett. The flights and accommodations for this trip are quite expensive. These students are trying to raise funds to help defray the cost, and Team 241E would be very grateful and appreciative if the Hooksett School Board would be able to provide any funding toward their trip if the budget allows. So thank you for your time and consideration, and now I would like to reintroduce Team 241E's captain, Duncan Corcus.
Long time no see. I've done robotics all 4 years of high school. My freshman year, I was the only freshman on a team full of seniors, and they realized about a month and a half in that I had to start learning things pretty quick because I was going to be the captain the following year. And so I've been the captain for 3 years, and there was a pretty steep learning curve to start, but it's turned out pretty well. And this is actually, so at Pinkerton, there are about 54 kids in the robotics program, and those are distributed among 6 teams. And they're alphabetized, so A through F, and E has never been to Worlds before, so this is the first time that it's ever been to Worlds. Usually it's been distributed amongst the other teams, so it's really creating something, and I know that I'm leaving the team in far better hands than I found it in. I still talk to the people who I was mentored by my freshman year, and they're happy for our success as well. So later on we'll go through everyone, explain, but so most of us are on 241E, but the other team that qualified for Worlds is 241A, represented here by Lauren. And of the 6 Hooksett kids on E, there are also 3 of them on A, Lauren, Lydia, and Diamond as well. And I shouldn't go without mentioning that Winston Chilson, Jacob DeRocher, and Jonathan Maloney are also Hooksett students who are in the robotics program. But Worlds has been, Mr. Byron, who's the engineering coordinator, the coach, projected that the costs are going to be $1,300 per student, paid presumably out of pocket, although we are and will be fundraising to help offset a lot of the costs. But for those of us that are going, that's $10,000 that just the Hooksett kids are spending, and we only found out February 17th that this would be like an expense, but it would mean a lot if the school board would be able to make a contribution to help offset the cost for each of the Hooksett students, and especially because we all, as the Hooksett, it's a shared experience. A lot of us went to the same school, but that really contributes to the community aspect of the team. We try to be even though we're all individuals, that shared experience really helps in building that team identity. My sophomore, and to a lesser extent my junior year, I had a problem with the reliability of a lot of my teammates, and so with that I turned to Hooksett kids, and I sought them out, and I made sure I knew the ones that were interested in robotics and had a work ethic to back it up, knew that E would be very happy would welcome them into the program, and like I said, it's worked out pretty well. But I knew that I could turn to them and that they would be reliable, and I thank them for it, absolutely.
So Duncan, how many Hooksett kids are actually going to Kentucky?
All
of you, all 7 of you?
Yeah, it's the 3 from A and just the Hooksett kids?
Mhm.
It's 9 total.
9 total?
Yeah. The fundraising will offset, even though in a lot of cases it's kind of financial concern, but we're going to fundraise as heavily as possible to make sure that the inhibitory effect of the cost is mitigated as much as possible. But we'll go through, and you guys want to do what you do at Colley, what you did at Colley, Pinkerton, name, grade.
Dean. So I guess I'll start off since I'm the only other senior. My name is Cameron Levesque. During Colley, I did clubs, Builders Club, I did math counts. I was on the baseball team. So really it ranged from a whole lot of things. But going to high school, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. Freshman, sophomore year, I didn't really explore as I should have. Being a multi-sport athlete and varsity athlete, it's hard to join other clubs when you have sports going on every single day, multiple hours a day. But after school one day, I saw the robotics club, and I was like, wow, that sounds really fun. So junior year, I joined in, and it's been nothing but a pleasure. And really, it's actually, it showed me what I really want to do in life. I want to become an aerospace engineer, go to college for that. So I turned to Duncan, he's from Hooksett. I was like, hey man, can I join your team? And here we are. Thank you.
Hello. Royce, put the binder down, come on.
I
You've been standing there patiently holding it.
I just brought this up in case any of you guys want to know a little bit more about robotics. So robotics, although generally the image given of robotics is of just building a robot and having it do things, there are other facets to it. I was introduced as programmer and documenter because I program and I document, so writing down everything, hence why it's so big. we did pretty well this year.
It's bigger than our budget.
So if any of you guys want to know a little bit more about robotics, then we can say up here, you can just look through these binders, although my handwriting's somewhat messy.
Yeah, I know.
So, I'm Royce Andrews. I attended Memorial from 4th grade onwards and Coley Middle School. I am a programmer for the team, and the Hour of Code program, firstly, which was introduced early on in Memorial, helped me see how fun programming could be. And then in Coley Middle School, I was part of the robotics team from 7th grade to 8th grade. So that gave me more insight into the world of programming, especially as it relates to robotics, since that as we move into the future, it's going to be more and more important to understand how certain automated machinery works, hence why I joined robotics. That helped me quite a bit in Pinkerton, since I tend to be something of a consultant as a programmer, which was most definitely helped by my experiences at the Hooksett Robotics Club and also at Memorial. Finally, I sometimes come back to Memorial to go back to the old robotics, the Lego robotics that are down in the teacher's lounge, where I sit in with the 7th graders, 8th graders who are programming their robot, and I give some advice, but also kind of learn myself.
Good.
Everybody else consults them because they don't know how to do it as well as you do. I wouldn't say that, but I can.
Great.
Well,
So, I'm Will. I was homeschooled up until 7th grade, and then I came here. I didn't join robotics up until this year. I wasn't really looking at any clubs except for computer club because I was interested in learning programming, and then I saw it and I was like, maybe that's not a thing for me. But Austin, he's been a friend since I met him in 7th grade, and he said that they needed another person, and it just worked out that we're all from Hooksett, so more of the team was from Hooksett so we could communicate better. I joined robotics because I was interested in the engineering part, and I usually help, I just build and give ideas with Royce and help document sometimes.
I'm Wendy Parcel, and I've been in the Hooksett School District for like all of the schools, you know. And in middle school, I know I really had like the mentality I want to join everything, all of it. So 7th and 8th grade, I was in the robotics team, and that just really opened my eyes to like engineering and stuff. And now that I'm in high school as a freshman, I wanted to join this team, and they're like, yo, you're a Hooksett kid, come over here. And I'm like, of course. And it's just been really fun, and it's just like, yeah, and I always come back here, as Roy said, to mentor the other team. They're really fun, and I just enjoy their company.
I'm Lauren. This is so intimidating. So I'm from another team, but I'm here to support them and like Hooksett kids in general. I grew up since the kindergarten, and I've played sports like field hockey and hockey for, well, not hockey, but field hockey for Collie, and yeah, I'm here to support them.
All right, and I am Austin. I've been in the Hooksett schools since preschool, so preschool through 8th grade. I didn't really take advantage as much of the clubs that were offered at Collie for like as much as I should have. I wasn't a part of robotics or anything of the sort. I joined robotics as a freshman. I'm a sophomore now, and like Cam, I want to go into aerospace engineering. So this, to me, is like a great learning opportunity to get like possibly ahead of the curve, so I can go into engineering with, I guess, a better mentality or understanding than some of the other people that will also go that will also try and go into it.
Anybody else have anything to say? Cool.
I mean, I guess one last thing. Communicating has been a lot easier as well. Austin, he has meetings at his house quite frequently, and in the beginning of the season, when really, even in the summertime, we would get together at his house, and it'd be so convenient because everyone lived in Hooksett. So, 10-minute ride to Austin's house, everyone's there.
That's awesome.
Great.
Well,
Cool. You guys have any questions?
I'm super proud of you guys. It's so awesome to see your success. So with that, I would like to make a motion to approve $500 for each Hooksett student attending the representing Pinkerton and Hooksett at the VEX Robotic World Competition in Kentucky. And if I get a second, I'll speak to it.
I'll second.
So I think the way that we've done this in the past, we're super proud and happy to support our students as much as we can. Typically, our process would be that you would go, and then you would submit documentation that you went and expenses, and then we could reimburse. But it would be specific for the student, not for your family, because we've run into that in the past. So I just want to make sure the motion is clear on that. But we would be happy to help defray those costs a little bit for all of you.
So I speak to him? You good? Anybody else want to speak? I'll go first. So a couple things. So, and I don't know if you guys know this, we went to graduation the last couple of years. My son graduated from Pinkerton 3 years ago. And the one thing that I noticed there was actually the individual towns had scholarships for their kids that would graduate. I don't think we do that. So to me, this is kind of like a alternative to that. Maybe down the line we should think about that. My wife actually mentioned that to me the other day. So the other thing is, you guys, in all honesty, even though you're in high school, start looking at internships at some of these big companies like BAE. They take high school kids at those places for internships in the summer. They make great money, and you'll learn a lot, and they love robotics kids. So just food for thought, like BAE, Raytheon, all those companies. Yep. So.
And I will add, just to clarify for everyone, Pinkerton is not covering any expenses for your trip, right?
Yeah, it's Pinkerton's policy to not support the extracurricular activities of their students beyond like the regional level.
Yeah.
A friend of mine, he's qualified for the nationals for wrestling 4 years in a row, and his family has had to pay their own way. The same thing if you qualify for like Northeasterns for track, that sort of thing, or Easterns for downhill skiing. They kind of, that's kind of when it stops, and they say that it's the responsibility of the family to.
So Duncan, you said 9 kids from Hooksett total, right?
Yeah.
So that's $4,500, right?
That go to Pinkerton.
That Pinkerton.
Yeah, because they're on robots.
Yeah.
Jim, you were saying?
Yeah, they probably don't want to, I'm not going to necessarily agree with, I'm sorry, I don't put my thing. I mean, clearly, Hooksett's unique. We don't have our own high school, and we've sent students to various things, and also, in the past, before the contract, we send that. It's not that, I applaud these students for being involved in robotics. I applaud the students who are involved in the band and every other opportunities that they have, but a lot of these groups have opportunities and are honored to be selected to go to a national convention. And allowing, if we agree with this, because I know the last time in my 18 years, the last time we had a discussion on providing funds. It was regarding a local DI, and I don't think we provided, I don't recall if we had a policy on that. First of all, we need to find out if there's a policy on what we do, and I don't believe there is. And I know, for example, I don't want to, you probably want to sit down because I don't, but I think the idea of supporting is clearly we support all our students where they go, but if we vote for this, then Londonderry, whose band traditionally goes to Pasadena, we have a lot of Hooksett students. They could say, we're doing a fundraiser to get our kids to Pasadena. Hooksett's going to support, we could support 20 of those kids to go to the Pasadena, or whether there are other conventions. So I think we need to clarify whether this policy is, because if we provide, and it's good money, to these students for this opportunity, then what's to stop a student who's going to any, like a national convention with DECA or a sports program or things like that, to come and asking for funds because there's a cost.
I did research policies, we don't have
So
one
so
for that, and Pinkerton's our school of record, so I
Okay,
think
and
that's
we've, okay.
something we can do in
But
policy.
it is a school of record, so we should say, and again, we have to be careful, because if it's a school of record and we give them an option to go to other schools, then we're not treating everyone equally. So if we say yes to this group, we certainly would need to say yes to any individual who, I'm on the Pembroke group that got supported to this, it's a cost, regardless of school of record. So I think that's a precedent we have to be careful, because if we do this, what is to stop us from doing other things, which certainly makes sense to do that? And what is our obligation with a town that doesn't have a school? We don't provide sponsorship to a lot of events within the K through 8 program that people to go to. And we're asking students to participate in programs that they're going, and we don't contribute to that cost of going to field trips that we are supporting. So I think we better be careful on how we do that because of the precedent. And I don't know what the guidelines is as a district to support. Clearly, we support them, but to go on that. So I'm saying if the school of record, their own school, doesn't provide information, then shame on them. But so if the Pinkerton can't do that, or Londonderry can't do that, and they're coming back to the sending towns, and we're providing funds, I think we have to be careful how we do that. So I'm concerned that there's a policy and there's no authority for us to do that. If we do it, I'm not going to support that because of the precedent. I'm not sure. I would hope we could table this to get a little clarification, but if we're willing to vote for this now, we need to be committed to vote for another group of very dedicated and committed students who leave Hooksett and go to another community, regardless of whether it's a record. So if another group for a national cheering group gets a award, and we have cheerleaders going to Pinkerton as a school of record, then we should be obligated to provide assistance to them as well. So I'm just being careful of the precedent, not the value of what this would do, but how it would affect other students. Of the 410 kids that go, they all do great stuff. And if they all get the lucky privilege of going to somewhere else, then we should be saying, hey, we'll provide another $500, regardless of whether it's 500 or 1,000. So that's my concern.
Okay. Adam?
Thank you.
So I'd like to say I think it's commendable. I know I came in a little late, so I apologize for that, but I think everything you've done is just amazing. And I've hopefully, with respect to Mr. Sullivan, I hope you inspired more groups to come here and ask for money. And I think that maybe things have changed, because I think what you're doing is awesome. I don't care if it's cheerleaders or engineering or science, which I love. I think that you're become young adults and you're some of your experiences. And without those experiences, in some cases, I think you miss out. So I hope you inspire other people, and maybe my thought is we shouldn't not vote on this because of future things that may or may not happen. I hope they do, based on what you guys have done, because it's, I think, commendable that you come to do this. So I just want to say congratulations. I fully support what you're doing, and I hope that you have kind of inspired other groups to come, and if they want things, then you have to do things like this, and you've earned it, in my opinion, so kudos.
You know, one of the things that, you know, I had written down here as they were talking earlier was we should probably have a line item for stuff like this and actually just keep a budget for something like this. And to Jim's point, create a policy, et cetera, so we have certain funds set aside. I just think it's a good idea.
Right. Again, being the new person here, and I said to Phil, you know, while the students were talking, I was not being attentive, but I said, this is one of the downsides to not having your own high school, because you don't get to see how the students, have they grown and how they've come, you know, up through the ranks. And it makes me proud to be, as superintendent, to see the great things you guys have done. And kudos to you and to your families and to Duncan for being, you know, the hub of everything. And to just speak briefly to Jim, you have the right to, you can do whatever you like as far as granting. I do agree with Greg and Jim that moving forward, we should have a policy and a line item, you know, and budgets moving forward, but these guys have been here a while, and the board may want to
act on it.
Move on the motion.
Lindsay, you want to say that?
No.
So I just want to say real quick, my whole deal is idle hands of the devil's workshop deal. We have all these bad stories you see in the paper about things happening and kids getting into drugs and et cetera, and you guys are staying busy doing good things, and I think we should support that.
Absolutely.
So.
As Duncan's mom, I'd like to clarify a couple of things that you mentioned. When you attend a conference at Pinkerton, you know a year in advance that you're going. These children had 2 weeks to raise $700. 2 weeks. This is your first payment. This is the day it's due. Oh, and by the way, there's another $700 payment in 3 weeks after that. So they didn't have time to fundraise. Their team fundraises. They sell jelly beans for their team. We'll get you out of it. They sell jelly beans. They run concession stands to afford to buy more parts. They're very involved. They did not have a learning curve. There is a group of parents that in the future will have separate fundraisers to fundraise all year to do this. In the past, the alumni have helped. Probably when you were a freshman, they helped, and then they had to stop because everybody was coming. It wasn't just robotics. That didn't help me, did it? But the alumni has done it. Their capital campaign, which isn't quick enough for these kids, is going to address the Pinkerton issue of helping kids raise money to leave the area to represent Pinkerton. It's just not quick enough for these kids.
Tricia, I think you're good. And the thing is, I said too, there's a bunch of kids up here we've seen here before, which is a good thing. Either to do the pledge or be involved with other things. I mean, I'm looking, and again, my kids are older, but I recognize a bunch of the
Okay,
kids.
who runs your Facebook group? Because we have a few dining to donates, and we're selling Krispy Kreme donuts. We just don't have the form.
Oh, geez, more
Oh, that would
donuts.
sell.
I'm gonna float away on donuts.
So we'd like you
You
to.
could sell about 4 dozen if you had them right now.
What do you call it?
Call the question?
Yeah.
All right, we're calling the question here. Says Greg. That means we'll vote. Okay, so, what was the motion again? Kara, you remember?
To approve $500 for each Hooksett student attending the national.
Specifically for the student?
Yeah,
From Pinkerton.
From Pinkerton.
from Pinkerton.
Okay. So, any more discussion?
No, you called the
All those in favor? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
I have to vote no.
Okay, that's all right,
because
Jim.
of the- of
Yep,
the-
that's okay.
it's
You
a
explained
great
it.
group, but it's.
Yep, you're okay.
That makes
All
it
right.
passed.
Congratulations.
Congratulations,
Good luck,
guys. You did a great job.
Congratulations.
Very well spoken.
I thank you for standing and listening.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
So,
not easy.
I know you guys all want to run for school board now, right?
Good
Got
luck,
some
guys.
community service hours, too.
Cool looking robot, too.
It is?
I know, actually, I was hoping they'd like run it around the room or something. Maybe go run over Jim's toes. All right, so, first reading.
Yes, we're in policies.
All right, so we're in policies now.
The first policy for the first reading is Hooksett School District assignment of kindergarten pupils to classes.
Here we go.
This policy is an existing policy that we currently have And right now, because we are, as we discussed earlier, we're going to have a minimum of one full-day session. That meant that we needed to look at the policy and, bring it in compliance with what we are trying to do. You can see the bold print is the new language that the policy subcommittee has submitted for your consideration, and the strikes are the existing language that are no longer pertinent or will no longer be pertinent to what we're trying to accomplish.
I have a couple comments. Should I do them here or at another time?
Yeah, I don't remember.
If you
Do we
ta-
comment now or next time?
This is, now's the time.
This is
It's
the
in-
time, yes.
All right, in the first paragraph, where it says parents are not required to send their children to kindergarten, that's a state law, right? That
Yes.
they're not
Yeah.
required, so
We can
I think
s-
we could add per New Hampshire.
Yeah, that's good,
RSA.
yep.
And then one, assignment of kindergarten pupils to an all-day or half-day session, to just kind of add to that, so it's more of a complete sentence, will be assigned to full-day or half-day, but the assignment will occur after the registration deadline has passed, so that people know it's not going to occur
Yes.
at the time you drop it off. And then on the second page, number 4, as additional kindergarten students register, they will be
Added to the wait list.
They will be registered where there is availability and then added to the wait list
And
as necessary, or something to that line?
Yes.
Because that's sort of making the assumption that they were going on the wait list. Kathy has my jelly beans. She's still here.
also with number 4, do we need to specify which wait list
Right.
they will be added to, full day or half day? Or
We
is
kick that around. We can say full day, because it's meant to be for full day K. So we can just clarify that. We can add full day. It's meant to be full day.
Okay.
Because you wouldn't want to be, because we should have space for half day.
Right.
It's the full day
And
program.
half year, you just assigned morning,
Right.
afternoon if you're
That's
add-on, right?
correct.
Yeah, during the year, okay.
But we'll add full day wait list so everyone understands it.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think on 1B, we should actually put in there when this lottery is going to be held, whether it's the second Monday of March.
We didn't
However,
want to be presumptuous, because that's kind of like the next one, so we can add it.
Okay.
We'll have it for the second reading. The board, decide, we want the lottery to be held second Tuesday in April, or third, whatever the date is.
Did you say the day after registration closes? So not knowing when.
Whatever you guys.
Year.
Yeah, what is
We'll-
that
we'll-
currently? What's that like for half day full, like?
So the,
we should come up with something tonight.
The current deadline for the session request is March 18th, and we opened it on February 10th. So it's approximately a month.
So when do you make the decision as far, you assign half day, the morning, afternoon? I know parents usually get with each other and try to swap up and all that stuff, right? My kids, we did that. So is there some kind of deadline on when you actually issue, whether a morning or afternoon?
We typically do it almost immediately after, once we get all the, session requests in after that deadline. It hasn't been a problem in the past, because it's always just kind of worked out with AM and PM.
Right.
But now that we've added the pilot into the equation, it's kind of complicated
We
things a little
could
bit.
do 1 week after that deadline to do the initial lottery.
Within 1 week?
Within 1 week
So it can
of the
be-
K registration closing, the lottery will be held, period. And then depending on how many sessions would depend on how many,
Right, and the date will move.
and the date would move if we needed more.
Once you get,
Yeah, I was going back and forth here. I like that, not to put a date, because we don't want to have to keep changing the policy, obviously. I guess just wondering if you, Greg, were looking for something more immediate this year than a week after this year's deadline.
That's fine.
Is that what you were, because that would be separate than
Yeah, I
adding
didn't
it
want a
to the policy.
specific date, but, because the dates are going to change constantly. But whether it's the third Friday of March, or, third Wednesday, something along those lines, so we know if it's closing on the 18th and we give it a week, then that's fine. The way he proposed it, the
You
superintendent
just, because
proposed
you
it,
don't have to
fine.
change the policy if you say
Right.
1 week after the registration period closes, so.
Right. Just so people can plan. They
Right,
know-
the date will fluctuate from year to year, as depending on when the registration will close, but then we just have to have the lottery, if we need one.
Right.
Within a week's time.
If I may, I think the procedure needs to have the date, and I'm trying to know if the policy regarding high school placement has a specific date in the policy. So, we don't put a specific
Well,
date.
Jim, that's because we have to give numbers to Pinkerton and those guys
Okay,
by a
but-
certain date.
All right, so I'm just saying if it's important to put in the procedure, we need to approve the procedures, but on the policy, depending on what's going on, that date, as you say, may fluctuate. So if we put a specific in the policy, then if they change the date, it's a violation of policy. But if we say in the policy per procedure, and then if the administration believes that this, instead of being this date, it needs to be pushed back a day or two, they can do that. If not, and it's the delay of a week, say after that, in the policy, they can't do that. So I think we should reference a certain, not necessarily a date in the policy, or a week after a certain thing, because we don't necessarily know when the filing period is going to be for applying to that. So that's why I'm saying, if we put a date specific in the policy, they can't change it. We need to reference that, reference the policy, the procedure will have a date. That's all I'm saying. Because if they do, then something happens within a week of, I'm not sure when the filing date is for registering for a kindergarten. And it says a week after registration date.
But when it
That's
closes.
would be a little bit,
closes.
that would be more acceptable, but if we put a date specific in the policy?
No, that's what we're
No,
saying,
we
is
don't
no
want to.
date.
Okay, good, that makes, I just want to be clear on that, thank you.
Lindsay?
Well, I want to be sensitive to everybody who's anxiously waiting for the date. And I think that's where I was going with clarifying that because we're not going to do the second reading of the policy now till the 17th, which is the day before all the forms will be in. I guess that we want to state, not have any policy, because this is just the next year that we have to worry about it, is that initial, this time around, you will do a lottery for that one committed
If you
class.
approve this is a process that's in your packet. You can approve that tonight. You pick the date, we have it.
Okay.
We don't need a second reading
Yes.
to tell parents that are here tonight, or who are watching, and we'll get.
That's where I was trying to go to.
Yeah, we'll say, the first, maybe only, but we'll have our lottery. You guys give us the date, right, the next item we go to. Once you approve the process, we plug a date in and we can have the first one.
Okay.
Excellent.
Any other input on the policy? No?
So I'll bring back with the changes for a second reading at our next meeting.
All right, Bill.
The next is, again, meeting with Jim, and we shared it with Ben. Ben was lucky enough to be on vacation. The rest of us were in the salt mines. We used, as kind of a basis, we tried to keep it as simple as possible. Matt shared with us what Cawley did a few years ago. I guess they had a lottery. So we tried to keep it as simple as possible, and again, open for whatever recommendations, just so for folks that are here. Every student entered into the all-day lottery will be assigned a number. When they walk in, they'll get an index card. Ben will put the card in an open box. We take everybody who wants to be in it, and then Marge picks the index cards one at a time. I read it out, show the card, it gets recorded, and if it's for one session, it'll be the first, and it'll be numbers. It's not going to be the Smith family, the Johnson family. We're not going. It's going to be and some people may, yeah, when their number's called, that's fine. But we're trying to be sensitive to folks, so it'll be a numbered system. And once we get to the 20, the lottery will stop at that point. Because as of right now, we only know we're having one session, so it would stop. We meet, we decide what we want to do come later in the spring. If it comes to that, we'll have a second lottery with the remaining people.
So I always worst-case scenario person. Number 6 of our items is families of multiple siblings will be assigned one number. If the number is chosen, all children will be assigned a seat. A little bit different than we do for high school, and it makes sense. However, what if that number is chosen and it's number 20, and we don't have a 21st spot?
Good, there we go. We didn't think about that, did we?
No, we didn't, Jim.
That's why we have Paul.
That's why we have.
How many triplets do we have in Hooksett?
Well, we have two sets of twins, right? At least 2 that are in the incoming kindergarten class. We didn't think of that. We would.
You have to make room for
Do
one
you want to
more.
also reference the state law so people know why we have to have that in there?
I don't know it off the top of my
I
head,
don't know
but.
it off the top of my head either, except
apologize.
that the family, if one child, the
Yes,
set
Ben,
of
you have it,
twins
right?
is
The law?
selected and the other one isn't, they go together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's an RSA that says if you have twins or triplets, they all have to
They
go.
go together. So
The
that's
parents
why we
reserve
have
the
to
right.
have that in
A
there.
parent can say, well, I don't want mine to go. I want both of them to go, or all 3 of them to go to full day. I only want 2 of them of the 3, or whatever. But they all have the right to go at once.
Is that specific to
So that-
kindergarten?
yeah,
Kindergarten,
they're not
just
covered.
kindergarten. To get to that question, I would like to think, you would have to, I'd have to come to you and say, can we make a motion to go over our cap?
Make it 21.
That's what I would do, and also, talk with the teachers and go, you guys okay with this? To add the extra kid, the student, I should say, child. But that's how I would handle, that's what I would do.
Good call,
That's a good what if.
That's a good one.
Yeah. There's no take-backs.
That's okay.
That's a good one.
I have 2 things.
See, we thought we had it settled, too.
Number 3, so we have it where the number is assigned, the card goes in the box. And then for number 3, can you say, at the time of the lottery, the superintendent or designee
We
will
can.
draw the index card? So
Yep.
we're not putting it in and taking it out.
That's fine.
Just so it's really clear. Then add the RSA for number 6 for the twins, or just reference it in case anyone's questioning
I
what's
will,
there.
you guys just pass as amended.
Okay.
And we'll make the amendment, because this is just protocol.
Yep.
And we'll explain these rules before the lottery, and we'll also send them out to all our parents that registered,
I'll
so they understand
suggest,
what the process is.
Adding a number 8.
Okay?
So after the numbers are placed on a wait list, then number 8, if a seat becomes available, the next person on the wait list will be contacted, just so it's clear.
Okay.
You and all your glasses half full stuff.
Okay. So just trying to think
This
where
is,
this is
for
going.
everyone out here, this is how the sausage is made. It's
So I'm just thinking, we have this wait list. So is every child going to get a number? And then we will go through all 130 or 40 or 50 kids and then put them on the wait list? I'm just thinking, like,
We
I
can-
want to know. I like black and white.
We can do it any way you want. We can say on pick date to be picked in about 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes. You can just tell me, we'll go through it, we'll go through them all. In other words, first 20, you're in, and then we just create the list, so we don't have to call everyone back a second time and go through it all again. We just contact them and say, Johnson family, congrats, Smith family congrats, et cetera.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know,
Home
and do it that way. So in other words, if we were to open, if it happened, let's say 2 additional sections, we would then take the next 40 names.
Right.
So can we do number 7 and say, continue to draw and record numbered index cards for the remainder of the children or something
already
like
on there.
that?
Yes.
Oh, wait, maybe it's, all right. Once the number of available
No,
seats has been filled, a wait list will.
The wait list will be
Yeah, we already did it.
continuing to draw and record numbered index cards.
We already did that. in
So, for
seven.
example, today,
All right.
Mr. Loy said there was 90 people, 90 individuals interested in full-day kindergarten.
Everybody, all the way down.
Every one of those would be 1 through 90.
Correct.
Yes,
It's already on
There,
there.
I'm sorry.
we thought that one out.
Okay.
7 or 8?
No, it's in 7.
Just don't have coffee at these
And
policy meetings.
just for clarification for people
Yep.
out here waiting, it looks like March 18th will be the date that, by March 18th, we'll have the lottery
We'll
done.
ha-
Or it is done on the 18th.
No,
No, the
that's
the
the last
18th it
day.
closes,
So by the 20th.
1 week
Okay.
after.
1 week after.
1 week after.
I'll talk with Ben tomorrow. We'll pick the date. He'll transmit it out to everybody, but it'll be within a week of the 18th.
Perfect.
And we're adding that to the procedure.
That will be back in the policy.
Policy.
Right.
We don't need it in here,
Okay.
because this will just be in the Underhill handbook,
Okay.
so parent, and on their website, so parents can see it, because it's not a policy. It's just a procedure.
Bill, there's a third page after this, which I don't, did we
That's
review.
the-
Is that something that?
This is just to show, this is the new registration form that
FYI.
Ben created. We met, and parents have already seen this, so this is the new selection form.
And I was just wanting to know if if they have any suggested changes for future forms. I don't know if that's something that you would
That's-
entertain, just in case,
It's like
because there may be a
advisory.
question.
That's for us to.
Yeah, it's for
Okay.
these guys to have.
Yeah, we're just showing.
This is
see how
just
we
for
changed it.
FYI.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's an FYI. We changed it to meet the
Okay.
policy.
Okay.
Now I need a motion to vote on the lottery procedure, and then we're off.
Motion to approve
As
the
amended.
all-day kindergarten lottery process as amended.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Okay, we got a couple other policies. These are just updated policies that we're putting for first reading. The first is tobacco, it's policy 80C, tobacco products ban, including vaporizers, use and possession in and on school property and grounds. It's a lot of verbiage. That's the title. You can see the suggested policy that we're recommending the board adopt. It's a little more, it's more updated than the current one we have.
I have 2 questions on this. Second paragraph of the suggested policy,
Mhm.
it lists all the particular areas,
Mhm.
but I didn't see playgrounds, outdoor space, fields.
So I think they call it within facilities, it's within.
Board of Instructions.
Yeah, shall include administrative buildings and offices in areas within facilities, so.
We
Oh,
can
it
add-
doesn't?
We can add.
Yeah, oh, okay, I see where she has that, yeah.
So we'll add playgrounds,
Fields.
fields.
outside space.
Or school.
Property.
Any school
School district property.
Or what about school functions? What if you have a kid that goes off, I don't know, lacrosse, and they're vaping somewhere at another school? Does that count?
I'll defer that to the principals. Normally, if you have an athletic code of conduct, and it's an athlete, you can enforce something like that. I don't believe we have something that says if one of our students was at an away basketball game and was caught vaping. Matt, do you want to take that? Put him on the spot.
But obviously, I'd call you, Mr. Rurick, to let him know. So we do have something in our athletic handbook that addresses the code, and obviously, that's a decision that would come to me, and we would address that like it would be a field trip or a school-sponsored event. And if it was a situation like vaping, there'd probably be a school consequence and a safe schools report.
Thanks.
And probably suspension from the activity.
So my second question to that point, did the principals see anything in the policy that you need to have different language or anything? typical for what you deal with?
Yeah, I think the
I know
policy.
we've revised it.
I mean, there's a couple of things that you guys have talked about, but I see it as being, effective the way it's written.
Okay.
The next policy for revision and consideration is the Hooksett School District's non-discrimination policy. We've added, as you can see in bold, we try not to add procedures into our policies, but certain policies, you need to spell out for people what steps they have to take, and that's what this does. If someone had an issue and wanted to file a complaint against an employee of the district, how they file it, or a parent against an employee, or an employee against an employee. Doesn't have to be parent, student. The next one.
Can I interrupt, Mr. Chairman, on that? And I'm just looking at, and of course I didn't, I was looking at another policy that I thought needed review for later, but I just want to confirm on second page, just want to make sure that the Office of Civil Rights, that's the right address. I thought I saw a different address for where to file a complaint. I just want to make sure that's, can we just confirm that's the right one?
We'll double check, yeah, but.
Yeah, I thought I found a different address, unless it's been changed from the old policy.
That's the most recent one that we
Okay.
received from the state.
Mickey.
Marge, you would know, you've been.
I know.
All right, I just want to make sure, I thought I saw a different,
Looking it up, and I'm pretty
I
sure.
thought I saw a different address on something else, but I think it's also where you need to apply for a different policy. So I just want to make sure that that address is correct.
I'm just thinking like 02134, send it to Zoom. You guys remember that when you were kids?
No.
Yeah, Kalaka.
Anybody isn't that? No? Are you guys don't watch Zoom? Come on. That means I'm wicked old, I guess. Never mind.
Yeah.
So it's an online app.
It's
that you do meetings
I'm
with.
telling you.
Yeah, right before the electric company.
Yeah.
I remember that.
There you go,
Jeez,
Jim.
Dinosaurs. The ACR goes with policy AC. There's no changes to this, but we just included it in your review. The suicide prevention policy, we're adding, you have to have a policy, but now you have to have protocols. Marge and I are in the process of developing protocols, just not for Hooksett, but for all three
Based on the
districts.
training? Is
Based
that what
on-
just happened?
Based on the training, but also on best practice to go over with our staffs.
Cool.
The last one, Mr. Benson asked us to take a look at and to revise our building use and facilities. You can see our current policy, and then the revised policy is very similar. One of the biggest changes is the revised policy that we're asking for you to consider is that we actually put in a fee schedule for facilities. The current policy says it's basically, you can kind of decide what you want. And we felt that this was and again, we're not married to any of these numbers. We put them there. We think that's a fair number, but the board wanted to change it. So if someone wanted to rent the gym and they were from the community, we would charge them $100. If they were out of district, we'd charge them $150, et cetera. And we also reserve the right to waive it.
So is that in cash? That way the principals get a little bit of a stipend? No?
Don't ask, don't tell. No.
So I have one question on this. So it says priority given to school-related.
Mhm.
Actually, I just caught something. Under A, school-related, just change the spelling of activities.
On what page, Karen?
Yeah. Page 1.
Oh, yeah, activates.
I just caught that. But, so school-related activities, government activities, local civic
Yep.
organizations. So does that include clubs, sporting events, anyone here that wants to, like a club at Poly wants to host something?
Right.
They have to go through the application
No,
process?
they just come to me and ask that. So that's like when we do the fine arts calendar. The Mr. Davini and Mrs. Vanderhook say, this is when the spring and winter concerts are. The Builders Clubs comes to me and says, hey, we're thinking of doing a lip sync contest. We'll put it in the calendar. And then we let people know, if something's booked way out, we work and say, that date's not available. But there's some dates that, that are off limits, and some dates that work.
Subject to the fee?
No.
No.
Oh, absolutely not.
No, if it's school-related, this is just for everybody who's not tied to the school
I'm
department.
thinking mostly old man basketball.
Which we do not have.
Right. They do, can't
For everyone at home,
I used to play some old man basketball.
so did I. And also, what else? And again, we did bold that we reserve the right to waive the rental, so. And we're really not going to charge nonprofit local organizations if they want to do something and it's on a Saturday. We're just not going to charge them. We're here for the community, but we have the pay schedule anyway. Are we going to go back and do them one a month, or we'll table the meetings?
Yeah, we'll table that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sammy,
Yeah. So, can I get a motion to table the monthly board meeting discussion until next time? Somebody?
Oh, hold on, let's do the policies first.
All right, we'll do policies.
Is there any final questions on the building use?
Motion to approve the first readings of the policies
As amended.
as amended.
Second.
I was going to ask, since we approve the procedure for the
Yeah, outside of the kindergarten. right?
in kindergarten one, should we waive the rules and approve the
You don't have-
JECD policy for
You
the
don't have
first
to.
reading?
You don't have to. You can, but you don't have
I
to.
don't know if you, because the policy,
It's not, the policy's not going to impact what we need to
okay, all
accomplish.
right. Very good.
We have a second somewhere? Okay, okay. So all those in favor of approving the first reading of all the policies? right? Indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nobody. So, can I get a motion to table the monthly school board meeting discussion?
I'll make, go ahead, Mr.
I'll make the motion to table the monthly school board meeting. Discussion.
Second? Okay, cool. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nobody.
Just to circle back, the issue about the siblings is RSA, it's RSA 193-A dash, I'm sorry, 193-3, or semicolon 3-A. That's the RSA regarding that.
Okay. So, anybody from the public want to chime in again? Raise your point. Huh?
So we need the button.
Green is green.
Okay.
Good question.
Red is dead.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, committee members. I'm Wayne Gortel, 33 Park Lane. So we're all excited about providing full-day kindergarten. I was looking at last year's annual report. We had 90 students in half-day K, 139 in first grade. So we had 50 students with a private arrangement for kindergarten. We got 100 so far, and more to come this summer. My son Colin attended private full-day K this year. My wife and I very much wanted to try to make the half-day program work. We've got flexible schedules. We don't travel far for work, but we couldn't make it happen. So we were thrilled that our local daycare actually had that option. However, as we think about kindergarten down the road for Hooksett and an eventual full-day program, and everyone's able to make it, I hope we still consider the opportunity for a half-day program. And I mention this for a few reasons. There are many excellent parents and grandparents that want to provide that home education for their kids. And there's some studies where you've got that supportive environment. Maybe mom was a teacher, et cetera, taking time off with the kids. They do very, very well. I know there's studies suggesting that if they don't have that solid home environment, the full-day program can be a better alternative. But I was disturbed recently to read a study talking about kids going into full-day programs early, and it was New England Journal of Medicine 2018 talking about kids who just made the full-day cutoff and those who just missed it, so kids who are about 10, 11 months difference. The folks who just made it, so you were an August kid at a September cutoff, for instance, those kids ended up getting a 30% higher diagnosis of ADHD than the kids who were older. when they went into a full-day program, which is kind of frightening. Tends to be weighted towards boys. Boys have like a 50% higher chance of getting an ADHD diagnosis. So I look at my son's an April birthday, but just looking at how he's grown in the last 5-6 months at his private program, he's changed a lot. So as we think about this, I hope we as a town keep a half-day option available. And when we talk about designing our full-day program, I hope we really are attentive to balancing that sort of play education transition, because I think the youngest kids really need some of that. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Leah Vincent, and I'm from 34 North Reading Street. And I'm hoping I'm going to articulate this correctly, because I've been speaking with many, many parents who are hoping and praying that we are going to be one of those 20 out of what is very close to 100 right now. And my biggest concern, while I'm being optimistic and hoping that my little guy will get into full-day kindergarten, what are the kids in half-day missing out on? And how would that possibly be compensated in terms of the curriculum that will be full-day versus half-day? Is there going to be an option for parents to have a part of that curriculum that maybe we can help teach at home? It's just something I'm sure that the process is going to be ongoing, but it's definitely a real concern for parents that are, again, hoping we get a full-day spot, but realistically, we know that there's some people that are not going to want, not going to have that option. And it's a real fear. What's first grade going to be like with the kids that, let's say, half the classroom was full day and half wasn't? How is that teacher going to be prepared? And how much time will it take for the others to catch up?
Good question.
Yeah, thank you. We don't normally respond, but I think two good questions were brought forward. The first question was, we want to hold on to the half-day program if we can in the end, because we understand, just as you articulated, the importance that some parents don't want their children to go all day, and they can get that experience at home, or the parents or grandparents want to be able to, or family members want to do that. The second question is, we will be having another evening, as I mentioned earlier, about all-day kindergarten. We will be sending out information to try to help parents that want full day but can't get it. Here's some activities that you can do with your children at home to help supplement what they're not getting because they're not in a full-day program. We're also working on it. We've just started having preliminary discussions on just what the second person mentioned, is what do we do with those kids that will have a group of all-day students, kindergartners going into first grade, and a group not. And we understand that, so thank you for bringing it up. We just haven't gotten there yet, but we understand that we need to have answers for that. Thank you both for bringing those questions forward.
So I'm back, Michael Gott, 486 West River Road, Hooksett, obviously. So just listening to the meeting today, it sounds like there's space for 7 classes, there's students for 5 classes, which means that 80% of the parents, or excuse me, roughly 100 people have applied for kindergarten, 2 want half day, 98 want full day. So you're looking at about 80% of the families in Hooksett not getting their first choice for their child. I think that's a horrible, horrible number. I understand in 2015 you started this process and you were asking for, I think it was 4.6 million. My notes aren't completely clear. I apologize for that. But if I heard also correctly, it's $500,000 to fund this fully, which is significantly less. During this meeting, we already talked about adding, I think it was $36,000 just for the additional busing, and then we added $3,500 on that for the VEX robotics trip. You know, it's frustrating, yes, I'm laser focused on the needs of my child right now, but at the same time, I was in high school, I was in an extracurricular program, I won a national trip to DC, we had to fundraise. We pulled it off, we were lucky, but that was, on a certain level, the teacher said that was part of the program, was you had to, if we were gonna go, we needed to not just win, but then we had to do the back end of that as well. So as callous as it might sound, it's frustrating to hear, you know, that we have space for 7 classes, we have money for 1 class, we have 5 classes worth of kids, and yes, the ask was for, I think, $4.6 million before, but if I heard correctly that it's $500,000 for the additional staff to cover all of this, it seems like asking for $4.6 million is a lot different than asking for $500,000, all right? So, I don't know what else to add, but I think that, you know, just to emphasize, 80% of the families roughly are not going to get their choice for their child's kindergarten. 80%. That is a brutal number. Like, that is brutal. Everybody's hoping for their little guy or their little girl to make it, but in reality, 80% at best are not going to get what they want, because if those were the numbers as of today, the cutoff hasn't even come. People are going to hand in those forms at the last minute. I mean, it's just brutal. So, thank you.
Hi, I'm Kristen Janelle. I live at 5 Garden Song Drive. My daughter Jalen is asleep. She's going into kindergarten in the fall, and I thought it was really important for me to come here today and find out what exactly is going on, because when I went to the deliberative meeting, or not, the meeting at the elementary school, everyone was getting pushed to sign up for the full-day kindergarten. And then I was told that there could be upwards of 3+ classes for the full-day kindergarten. Now, I haven't signed my daughter up for kindergarten at all yet, because I want to figure out what was going on. But if I'm a smart mom, I would obviously want to put my daughter in the lottery for the full-day kindergarten, because I don't want her to start off 1st grade behind everyone else. And I feel like having like this pilot in there with dividing the classes, dividing the kids starting in kindergarten, isn't a way to nurture them in bonds throughout growing up through our school system. Guess that's my 2 cents.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Thank you for coming out, everybody.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?